Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Joking Dolphin Gaming Pod. I'm Mark, and as always, I'm joined by Matthew
Hello.
and Nathan.
Aloha.
We are right, chaps.
All good. It's sunny.
Not too
It's
shabby.
Bank holiday weekend.
bit cold. It's bank holiday weekend. All
So
good.
Lucky to have no work tomorrow.
Mm.
Lucky us.
Well, I've got no work for the rest of the week, so.
Oh, there's always one in there. There's always one that's gonna rub it in. Okay, shall we kick off with some news now? Shall I start off with some good news or some bad news?
Let's start with the good news. Start with a
news.
bang.
Yeah.
Okay, so Sony, they have decided to U-turn on the closures of the PS3 and PS Vita stores,
Mm.
but the PSP stores will still close
Yeah.
as planned.
Oh.
Yeah,
What
so
should-
they were initially going to close them on the 2nd of July, but due to reading the comments on social media, they've decided to go back on it for the foreseeable future, which I think is very positive. As Mark said, they are going to continue with the closure of the PSP store in July. With that, there's going to be around 35 digital-only games that are going to be lost, unfortunately. But if they would have continued with the Vita and PS3 closures, that would have been 140. So, yay, they saved some games. I think it's good.
Well, it's nice to see something positive for a change.
Yeah, definitely. I think we spoke about this when the news initially came out that there were some Vita games that are planned to be released. And I think it's great for those developers that have put their hard work into them games that they're actually going to be getting them out, which is good.
Well, I don't know. Are they going to actually carry
Well,
on? I mean,
if
I hope
they-
they do.
If
I hope
not
I hope
cancelled
they
by
just
the
haven't
time.
scrapped them.
Well, this is
Yeah,
it. They
let's
might
delete
have
the
already
source
done it.
code.
Yeah, delete it all.
All work gone, done.
Do you think that was due to the public backlash?
I do,
I
yeah.
think it was, yeah. I don't think they anticipated so many people still being interested in those platforms still. Like,
I'd like to know what the numbers are, though.
Or are people still using that?
Yeah,
yeah.
because off the top of my head, I won't think many people would be using it. To be quite honest.
I mean, from what I know, the Vita's got a very cult following, and there's like a lot of like homebrew games that have produced for it. A bit like the Dreamcast, like that's got a really like hardcore following that people that love that system.
I can understand more people going on about the Vita, obviously, because it's handheld, as opposed to the PS3 one. But PS3 surprises me that a lot of people would still be playing that, unless it's kids playing their first consoles, getting the cheap one.
Or it could just be
PS4 cheap.
people who haven't switched over yet. There's still
Maybe.
plenty of people. Probably playing PS2 that haven't switched over yet.
Just there playing the Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah.
The days before loads of patches and that kind of thing. Yeah. I will not move to PS3 generation.
Hey, when games came out in their full state without any patches.
Yeah.
That or the rare broken games that we couldn't play at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's good. I mean, hopefully this will give Sony enough time to put something more long term in for where we can get these digital games.
Yeah, because I do think it's inevitable they will close.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've got to close at some point.
So I think they've got to try and plan something, haven't they? Start working on a Game Pass, Sony.
That's it. People will pay for that.
Or rebrand PlayStation Now and do something with it.
Well, that's it. They've never really pushed it like Microsoft have pushed their
Game Pass.
Their Game Pass. Yeah, it's more like they just push the PS Plus, and then now is just like a thing pushed off to the side that they don't really care about that much. In my opinion, that's the way I see it as a gamer. That it's just there, rather than if you're Microsoft, it's Game Pass, Game Pass, Game Pass, and then Xbox Live Gold is just a thing that you struggle to find.
Because Microsoft do seem to be stepping up, it seems now. Because last generation, they had a bit of a meh. Well, maybe not a meh, but not quite the standing that PlayStation had.
No, they go off to a rocky start, but start slowly pulling it back, I think.
Well, they seem to not have much at the moment, but they do seem to be making the most of the previous, and based on news that's coming around, obviously the Bethesda acquisition, that kind of thing, they're clearly building for the future. So
yeah, no, I think they're starting to learn from mistakes made from last gen. I think big complaint was that there wasn't many exclusive games for the system, and if they were, I don't think there really was of like the quality of Sony ones. Like, you could, I mean, Forza is like a strong going series. There'll always be excellent games. But like, you look at some like Halo series that's kind of gone downhill a bit. I don't think Gears of War's really hit the heights of that it did around kind of the second or third game.
Whoa. 4 and 5 are pretty good in my opinion.
But are they better than the second and third game?
Definitely better than the second game.
Gotta be better than the first one.
I don't know. First game was a classic.
Don't just get me started on that again.
I'll get you started while I want.
But Sony have also announced that in a conference call that they're going to invest an additional $183 million into PlayStation exclusives over the next year. So the fight back is on.
Yeah. I mean, they've got a roadmap that's coming out. So they've got like Returnal that's pretty much out now, and then there's a few other games that are in the pipeline, like Ratchet and Clank and loads of other games. But it's good that they're putting more money into it to try and like bulk up their offering, because I think in the next couple of years, like when Bethesda with Microsoft really get into their own, I think it could really be a bit of a scrap between the two, which is great for gamers, because we're just going to keep getting fantastic games from both entities.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Okay, shall we get to? Well, it's news that seems to crop up every week. So FIFA Ultimate Team.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Cyberpunk then.
No.
Welcome to the FIFA segment.
I was expecting Cyberpunk.
No, but we heard there's been a leaked 54-page document from an insider at EA, which details
Heard about it, yeah.
how they're trying to pressure players into going to FIFA Ultimate Team. Now, this is absolutely no surprise to anyone. We all know that's what they do anyway. You don't need a leaked document to tell us that. But this is the first time in black and white it actually saying we're trying to push players to spend money in Ultimate Team.
Mm.
Well, it's a big money maker for them, isn't it? It's I'm surprised they'd want to force people onto paying money on it.
Yeah. So there was a couple of slides in the document. This is number one. We have more active players at this point in FIFA than ever. 5.3 million. Then some words that I don't understand. So the team is squarely focused on engaging current players through mid-September. I think this was a document from before the last FIFA came out. It says players will be actively messaged plus incentivized to convert. That's in blocks. That's in bold. Throughout the summer. FUT is the cornerstone, and we are doing everything we can to drive players there. The return of football is only going to help us, and plans are ready to flex. Interesting terms in there.
Plans are ready to flex. Dear me.
Well, there's no surprise. I don't know if you guys have seen what they've introduced in the recent update for FIFA Ultimate Team.
Oh God, don't want to know.
But alongside where you in the section where you can buy like the FIFA packs, so your bronze, silver, gold status. They've added a new tab. It's called Stadium. So now what they're doing is they're selling the like customizable stadium parts as well now, and kits. So like exclusive kits that come out, the Tifos. I didn't know what they were called. Where all the fans hold a part of a bigger image, sort of thing.
Oh, like a mosaic kind of thing.
Yeah, it's actually called Tifos. That was a new thing that I'd learned. That I think maybe footballs. I'm not sure. I didn't look into it much, but it's like, oh, you can do this now instead of having to, fight for them in the marketplace. And it's just like, just more ways to monetize FIFA at this point.
Well, that's it. It's just another revenue stream for them.
So then you got to do it again next year.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah.
That's the thing that puts me off it. Like every year, you lose everything that you've done.
Yeah.
There's one thing in this document though that kind of says it all. And do you know the in-game currency?
Yeah.
Do you know what it's referred to in the document as?
Go on.
Certainly not FIFA coins.
It's referred to as grind currency
Wow.
in the document.
Grind currency.
I mean, there's not much more you can add to that, really, is there? Says everything.
Don't know what else to say.
Yeah.
I think we're going to get to a point where you only get like 10 coins per match or something, so you're forced to have to buy. I mean, you've only got to like log on to your PS4 or 5 and look at the splash screen for FIFA. Right now, it's just Ultimate Team.
Well, one of these slides says all roads lead to Ultimate Team. That's what one of these slides actually says. This is they're trying to content teasers plus targeted Aruba message. I don't know what Aruba messaging is. Will drive excitement and funnel players towards FIFA Ultimate Team from other modes. So that's their entire plan.
That's strange. Never seen any advertisement for FIFA Ultimate Team in pro clubs.
Well, this explains why clubs don't get any updates.
Well, true,
yeah, that's true.
Well, that's because all roads lead to Ultimate Team.
I've just had a thought. What they could probably do to incentivize you is give you like 10 like points to use against your pro if you set up an Ultimate Team or something. You can have that for free, EA.
Don't give them ideas.
Yeah.
Stop it.
I mean, we know what they're like with clubs. I mean, they're bugged, aren't they, with the formations, so they don't care.
Yeah. That took so long to get fixed as well. If that issue was on Ultimate Team, it would have been done in 2 days, I imagine.
Yeah. And then we had the was it the offside bug? In the previous
FIFAs. Oh, there's been so
none of that would be going off in Ultimate Team, trust me. Anyone got any other news?
I'll go to some slightly more happier news, I suppose. Kind of swinging it back to Microsoft. They've confirmed on the 21st of April that you no longer need Xbox Live Gold to play free-to-play multiplayer games now. Long time coming, I think.
This was all about the backlash, wasn't it?
When they put the Xbox Live prices up, and then they came out with like, oh, we're going to give you free-to-play games without Xbox Live, which is good.
Eventually.
Eventually, yeah. I mean, it's something that like the Switch and PlayStation could already do. Like, you didn't need PSN or Switch Online to play Fortnite or I don't know, Rocket League online. But I mean, it's more positive news for Microsoft. It's going in the right direction, and it's just it'll just bring more people to these games now who are on Xbox but didn't have Xbox Live Gold, I suppose.
Yeah, just to add to that, with this update, they also unlocked the Xbox Party Chat and the Looking for Groups feature as well. So you can now chat to people without Xbox Live Gold.
Well, I won't be doing that. But...
well, you need to have friends on Xbox first.
Yeah, all right. Let's rub it in. Again,
yep.
Should we talk about some people leaving places? Now, do either of you play Overwatch?
I used to, and quite a few years ago, I used to be pretty addicted to it.
So, game director of Overwatch, Jeff Kaplan, has left Activision Blizzard after 19 years.
Oof, that's a long time.
So, I wonder what the future of that is, because isn't Overwatch 2 in the works?
It's currently in the works, yeah. It's arguable whether they needed to make a second one, because from what I can tell, what they've done is they've updated the graphics engine. Maybe the entire engine itself, potentially. Maybe it's running on a new engine, which at that point, then I can understand why there's a sequel. But at the moment, like from what I've seen about, like you could have just updated Overwatch with all this stuff. But...
Well, that's not the only person who's left somewhere.
Oh,
so,
no.
the creative director of Marvel's Avengers, Sean Escaig, has left Crystal Dynamics to rejoin Naughty Dog.
Ah. Well, I don't blame him for jumping off that sinking ship.
Yeah, that's it. And it's just right from the singing. Although some people are thinking that he did a lot in terms of the campaign, not
Well, that's
much in
good.
terms of the last, because he previously helmed Uncharted Lost Legacy, which I've not played myself, but it's positive.
Oh yeah, I bet it's a solid spin-off.
So I can understand if he did the campaign stuff, because I know obviously that's been received well in Avengers. One of the few things people have thinks good about it.
Yep.
But maybe he's just left because that's over with and he didn't need to stick around, or is there more to it? Who knows?
Yeah, you never know when people leave, whether it's like because from how I understand game development, kind of once a game has kind of come out, and it's finished, it's apparently normal for like people to be kind of let go, and because like they were contracted for that one thing and that's kind of it, sort of thing. Yeah. But we'll see. We'll see. I'm sure they'll move on to greener pastures in the future, hopefully.
Did either of you watch the PlayStation State of Play?
Yeah.
I didn't.
Bit underwhelming, to be honest. So we'll talk about the first couple of games that they announced. So I think the first one was that Among Us was going to be coming to PS5, which is good for people that like Among Us. I played a bit of it on Switch, and I enjoy it for what it is. It's fairly fun.
I like it.
Have you played it, Mark?
No, I've never played it.
Well, it might be something that we can all play. It's quite fun.
You can get it on mobile.
I know, but I don't really like playing games on mobiles.
Yeah.
I don't
Tiny little. And my pie fingers is just like...
One thing about the mobile version is it is quite difficult to type. Like when you're trying to type a message to somebody.
That's the annoying thing. Like it takes forever to type something, and by the time you've typed it, they've already voted you off. I'm like,
yeah,
I'm not sus.
Like... I've done tasks.
Yeah, I've been doing tasks.
Yeah, the struggle. And they also came out with that Subnautica is going to get a PS5 revamp. So for anybody that's purchased the digital or physical version, you'll get the upgrade for free, which is good. Now, I played Subnautica for quite a while, and I did quite enjoy it. I didn't enjoy the giant sea creatures that ate me, but I enjoyed the exploration side of it and like the gathering resources and crafting and stuff. So that's good. And then we got a long look at Ratchet and Clank. What's Rift Apart? That's it. Yeah. I mean, the more I look at this game, the more I get really excited for it. What were your thoughts on it, Mark?
I really like the look of it. I mean, I've not played a Ratchet and Clank game before. Well, no, I think I played a demo of one, but I have no idea which one it was, or I can't remember what you did in it. But I really like the look of this one. I like that futuristic aesthetic and on the planets and all that. Really nice, really beautiful looking game. And then the whole going through those portal things.
Yeah, the rift
the way that was done was fantastic. It was extraordinary. I can imagine that getting confusing mid-battle, doing that, but
yeah, because they also said that when you rift, you're not rifting into like a battle arena; it's the entire level it loads as well, which is quite impressive.
Yeah, just look nice there. I'd be interested in that one.
Yeah,
because I've got the it's the game that came. I've got it on PS4. It's just called Ratchet and Clank. I don't know if it's a reboot or remake or a new one that was just called Ratchet and Clank. I don't know what.
I think that was the launch title for PS4, just the one that's just called Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah, well, I've got that, but I've not played it yet. But I might get on that before, just to see what they're all about. But yeah, I did like the look of that.
Yeah, and then that was about it, wasn't it? After that,
yeah.
To be honest, like because it seemed to come out of the blue. Like I only realised that evening that they were going to have the state of play. I'm like, right, I'll watch this because I'm like, oh, they're going to come out with something about the VR2 or something like that. But then, that never happened.
Come on.
VR2. I wanted to be surprised.
Because
Yeah, why
they'd
not?
already announced it was going to be about Ratchet and Clank beforehand, so
Mm.
I was expecting that.
I didn't see that, but yeah, it was nice to see an extended gameplay.
Yeah,
But
it's good.
I'll have to go back and watch it at some point.
Right. Have you heard of ACG Gaming?
no,
Anyways, the guy's a YouTuber and he basically just this podcast for some other people. I don't know the details of it, but apparently he's got a reliable source. I mean, take this with a pinch of salt, but from a reliable source is that the Metal Gear Solid IP is up for grabs.
Oh, interesting.
And he clarified because he like vaguely mentioned it on this podcast. He wasn't explicit about it, but he wrote some clarification on Reddit. I said, let me add some clarification, folks. The person, grammar is not great here, but bear with me. The person who told me this has been with me since Far Cry Primal leaks lol, and mostly has been right from Bethesda moving to 0-day review code, and this year to Deathloop, Bloodlines, Dragon's Dogma 2 leak, Xbox Game Boost work, and a couple more this year. I was simply stating I had heard from a source the same that informed of the Xbox Boost, the Deathloop delay, Bloodlines, and the other stuff I had talked about as saying this happening, and that Metal Gear itself was in some way up for grabs, which then popped up in this discussion about Kojima. That source has been reliable all this year, so I said it. I don't have the time to really discuss BS, so I don't repeat most, but they were right about the Bloodline stuff, the Deathloop stuff, so I figured it was worthy. So far, they hit 8 for 8 this year, and were right as far back as Far Cry Primal, prior to it being announced by a huge margin. So, basically saying the guy who's had it from is reliable. But we don't know whether they're selling. We don't know if Konami is selling it or whether they're licensing it to someone else, which is a possibility.
I'd have thought the licensing would make more sense.
Yeah. Get us pachinko machines.
That's it.
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
But interesting nonetheless.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Would I want Kojima to have Metal Gear back?
Yeah.
I want it back, but I want him
think
to
he wants it
finish
back.
Metal Gear Solid 5 properly.
I don't think he wants it back. Because it was for a long time he was trying to get away from it.
Well, yeah. At one point he kept
I think
saying
that might be
Metal
more
Gear Solid
Konami
was
though,
his
maybe.
final. No. I think he's always wanted to get away from it at some point. Every Metal Gear Solid is made after like the first one. It's like, yeah, this is my last one.
That's my last one, yeah.
This is my last one. Metal Gear Solid 2 comes out. Alright, this is my last one. Solid 3. No, it's definitely my last one.
He's just like that. Please,
right.
Konami.
Just one more.
Yes.
Then,
Stop it.
Just one more. But interestingly, to actually add to that, I'm not sure who the YouTuber was, but there's been someone did like a YouTube interview with the voice of Mr. Solid Snake, David Hayter. David Hayter, yes. And he's heard that there might be a Metal Gear Solid remake in the works for current gen consoles. He's not really had any kind of source to come out with himself, but
Blue Point.
Yeah.
Blue Point.
I mean, if there was anyone to do it, Blue Point would be like the perfect devs to remake anything.
There was a rumor quite a while ago, wasn't there? Quite a long time that Blue Point might have been working on it. That was a long time ago.
Yeah, it was a while. I mean, they I think they did the Demon's Souls remake, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Very well done remake. I've not played the game myself, but seen it in action and seen like Let's Plays of it. It looks very impressive. So if there's anyone to do a proper remake for Metal Gear Solid, I couldn't think of any developers better. But yeah, I suppose this is another take with a pinch of salt sort of thing. Because I think David Hayter always seems to be round to play Solid Snake again at some point.
I still can't believe they didn't bring him back for 5. That really
I can see why I didn't bring him for 5. I could see Kojima's reasoning for this is Big Boss. This is like he needs a different voice to differentiate from Solid
Yeah,
Snake.
but Big Boss was in third one, and it was his voice.
True, but at the time, like, I don't know if Kojima had the right
They
connection.
just went to Hollywood. I don't know.
Probably. I
Probably.
thought Sutherland
Justice for Hater.
Justice. That's why they had to change it for 4. You can have David Hayter speaking to David Hayter. It'd be a bit like paradox.
No, maybe. I don't know. It just doesn't sit well with me.
Oh.
Right, so the Game Developers Conference, they conducted a survey. I'll just read. It's just the Game Developers Conference today released its annual State of the Industry survey today, showing an uptick in the number of respondents who had seen their projects delayed as a result of the pandemic. I mean, that's probably no surprise. But of the more than 3,000 developers who answered the survey, 44% responded that their current game had been delayed due to COVID-19. 49% said their games hadn't been delayed, while the remaining 7% didn't have a game project at the time of the survey. Despite the delays, many developers are actually finding themselves more effective when working from home. When asked how remote work has impacted them, 35% said it greatly or somewhat increased their creativity and or productivity. 32% said there hadn't been much change, while another 32% said their creativity or productivity had greatly or somewhat decreased. A handful of other questions that saw notable shifts from last year. 38% of survey respondents said they are or have been involved in AR or VR development, down from 46% in last year's poll. Finally, developers appear to be growing more comfortable with the idea of subscription services, like Xbox Game Pass and PlayStation Plus. When asked if such services will devalue individual game prices, the number saying yes dropped from 27% last year to 21% this year, while those saying no rose from 26% to 30%. There's some interesting stats there.
Yeah.
Do you think more developers might start working from home?
I don't see why not for their field.
Yeah.
Because normally it's less that developers need to be as part of a team. They can be given like their bit of code to work on, and then they can just go and work on that for that day or that week or whatever.
Or maybe they just have like one day in the office.
Yeah, so they can collaborate on what's been done next or what's next in that project, and then they can go away and work on it.
Because I do maintain that collaboration is important, I think, for a game. You really need to be speaking to each other. But I guess it's good for the individuals as well. You know, there's no commuting, that kind of thing.
Yeah. I was actually thinking, just popped into my head. I think a good documentary to see how the pandemic has affected the team and how they've had to adapt to it is the one made by NoClip. If you've heard NoClip, Danny O'Dwyer, I think it is.
I don't know his name. I know NoClip.
An Irish bloke. He did like a whole series on the whole development for Hades. So like when it first started up to when they got like a proper release, and then when they had to continue updating, that's when they started hitting the pandemic came into it at that point. And it's really good, interesting watch on like how teams had to adapt to I suppose the world event that's affected everyone. But it's really interesting watch. I recommend it for people interested in like game development and how it all comes together for one team.
Any other news?
Yes, the Nintendo Switch is now the 6th best-selling console of all time in Japan. Saying that, there were fine margins between number 5 and number 6, so it could have potentially overtaken it. But yeah, it just shows like what an absolute force that console's been in Japan. But it's not quite a DS standard yet, so right now, as of this article about a week ago, the Switch has sold 19.9 1.4 million consoles in Japan. For it to reach number one, it's got to get to 33 million consoles sold. But I think if Nintendo bring out like a Switch Pro, it could definitely have a chance of outselling the DS and becoming the best-selling console of all time in Japan.
I'm going to shock you here. If they do come out with a Switch Pro, I might dabble.
Ooh,
I might give it a shot.
You might give it a go. What's this?
Can't believe it.
He says now.
Yeah, he says,
We'll wait until it actually happens. But
I'm interested.
Exciting.
What's the first game you could try if you ever got a Switch?
I don't know. I don't know what games
That
really there.
Nintendo one, that one.
Yeah, that. Yeah, that
That
one with
Mario
that.
Tetris
that
99.
That one with that Mario guy in it. That one.
That Mario
That-
guy.
I don't know.
Oh, he's gonna play Mario and Rabbids.
Is there a particular reason that's got you onto this thinking?
Just broaden my horizons.
Wow.
It's never a bad thing. Yeah.
Well, it's just, well, as I've said before, it's just I'm one of the few people who never grew up really with Nintendo. I didn't play them when I was younger, so I just never got into them. I don't hate them or despise them or anything like that. It was just never my thing.
Yeah.
So I thought now I'm an old man, I can make choices myself.
That's it.
I'm a free man.
You can do whatever you want. You can eat that chocolate cake, buy that console.
It might shock you even more and go with that. Is it Pokemon Snap, the new one? Is that a new thing?
Oh, a new Pokemon.
Yeah.
I think you'd quite enjoy that actually. It's
Quite relaxing and
Yeah.
well,
That might be the game that gets me into Pokemon. Maybe. Watch this space, folks.
right. I
Watch
can't
this,
believe
folks.
this. If you get into Pokemon and start playing the main games, I'll be
that's
done.
it. We'll drip feed him onto Snap, and then once he gets into there, then we'll move on to like Sword and
Hooks
Shield.
I think that's jumping a bit too
Pokemon
far.
Go.
So right, Pokemon Snap first, then Pokken Tournament, then mainline Pokemon.
Or just never buy
One
one.
of the
It never
fine games.
happens.
That's it. Yeah. Play Snap finds you just don't like Pokemon.
Who knows? Fix your drifting, I might. Right. Not great news. Toys for Bob. So, the development team be responsible for Spyro Reunited trilogy and Crash Bandicoot 4 have been moved to becoming a support team on Call of Duty Warzone.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
seems like a waste of talent.
It turns out with this, all 9 studios that are directly owned by Activision now work on Call of Duty in some form.
Oh, 9. Wow. I'd list down as them being the 7th active, but I've clearly missed two that's not on my list.
Yeah, it's.
Who's not on there?
I don't like the sound of this.
I don't know why. No.
Well,
I do know
why.
why, but I don't like why. I should
Yeah.
say. It's really frustrating because, like, I mean, the same happened with Vicarious Visions.
Yeah.
You know, they did an excellent job with the remaster of the Crash Bandicoot games. Did probably a phenomenal job with the Tony Hawk 1 and 2 remasters. And then the reward is like, oh, now we're going to dissolve you into Blizzard.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've done such a good job.
So you've got so much like classic games in your library that you could use Vicarious for. Like put them on like Tony Hawk 3 and 4, or like make them do like a new Crash or Spyro.
It's not like
Call of Duty.
It's not like they've not got enough people already on Call of Duty.
Yeah, that's it. So you think they've got enough resource for that?
It's like, have some variation in your products. Come on.
I've got the list here. I wrote down that I thought they were only the 7th active developer to be working on Call of Duty. So I had the list here. There's Infinity Ward, who in charge to do the Modern Warfare series.
Yeah.
Treyarch do the Black Ops series. Sledgehammer are like the 3rd biggest one. They're making their next Call of Duty this year, whatever. The next World War II, I think is. Then you've got Raven, who seems to be the main supporting developers on Warzone now. Beanox, if people can even remember Beanox.
Yeah. Well, they did part of the Tony Hawk's remake as well. They were
quite
involved as well.
possibly. And then I had High Moon as well, which I think their like last big game were like the Transformers Cybertron series, I think, which were solid games. I played the first one; it was a solid shooter. And Deadpool, I think that was their last game they made before becoming like a supporting developer. But it's just like there's so many developers working on this franchise. Can you just not? Why do you need so many developers on one title? All right, Warzone's probably
to pump more out for money. That's the simple fact, isn't it?
I mean, Warzone is going to be Activision's Fortnite at this point, so the more that they can work on it, the more people are going to play it. And I don't want to knock Warzone because I know it is a solid. Well, it's Call of Duty, but Battle Royale. That's always going to be a good mix because I still think to this day Call of Duty is like the best first-person gunplay gameplay.
Well, it should for all the developers who's got working on it.
Well, yeah.
Everyone and the bum's working on it. So.
Yeah. But it's like, I was just seeing all this talent feel like being a bit of a waste. Especially Toys for Bob's coming from Crash Bandicoot 4. Like,
exactly, that was an absolutely phenomenal game.
Did it not sell well? I thought it sold okay. I don't know. I mean, I'm not bought it.
They've done the free PS5 upgrade for it as well. I'm just gonna have a look at the sales figures.
Was it Toys for Bob's that did the Crash Team Racing as well? I don't know who did Crash Team.
I'm not sure. Maybe.
I mean, they got good favor from that as well. Minus that they started putting microtransactions in because Activision. That was disappointing.
It's like Toys for Bob just sounds such like an innocent studio.
And
then it's just like, put me on the gunplay.
Toys for Bob, Call of Duty. You know.
Gonna work on zombies.
Yeah. Activision be Activision. Positive news. Well, for people who liked it, The Last of Us Part 2 has become the first game ever to receive the 300 Game of the Year awards.
Wow. I can't wait for him to bring the next one out and plaster that all over the cover art.
But hey, the internet keeps telling us it's a terrible game, so who are you going to believe?
That's it.
Yeah.
Oh, one of my favourite characters dies. I'm not even going to play it and then say nasty things about it. Idiots.
Yeah. Konami has withdrawn from E3.
Well, they've probably got nothing to show.
Or maybe, but why did they join in the first place then?
True.
The pachinko selling booth is not going to be there.
Maybe they thought they had something, but then suddenly didn't have enough time, or maybe complications happened. Yeah, it happens. I don't know what they could have showed off. I don't know what the next Pro Evo, I suppose.
It's probably just going to be the Legacy Edition.
If there was ever a time for Pro Evo to step up, it would be now.
Yeah, just to get some good PR with people. While
it's got
EA's
its own
doing this.
FIFA Ultimate Team though as well, hasn't it? So the Master League, is it? No, My League. Sorry, I think one of them.
Yeah, but is it as egregious as Ultimate Team?
I mean, you still have to pay microtransactions, so let's be honest.
Is it on the same level?
I don't know. Not as many people talk about it, so I can't judge. I've not actually played it. I just know it's around. I just want to make my pro clubs.
I think the thing that stops people from playing Pro Evo is it not having like the kits and the club names.
Yeah.
Well, interestingly to add to that, actually, they did mention they have exclusive license for Napoli. So
got Napoli, Juve, and I think another couple of teams in Italy as well.
Probably.
That EA have lost.
Yeah. Well, no wonder what Napoli are going to be called in FIFA next year.
Well, they'll still be called Napoli, but it'll be the badge. They'll be no. Wait a minute. If they got naming rights, they'll have to call them something else.
Well,
Napoli with a Y at the end.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Napoleon.
because I can remember about 2 or 3 FIFAs ago, they lost the logo rights for Napoli, and they had to change the logo a few years ago.
Oh, really? Didn't know about
Dynamo Napoleon.
that. Perfect.
Yeah.
Anyone got any other news?
Yes. So Sony is testing video content as part of the PS Plus subscription service. So they're doing this exclusively in Poland right now. So this trial service started on the 22nd
To the motherland.
of. Yep, that's it. The motherland.
Such a random place to start that.
Yeah.
It's the central hub of gaming. Says CD Projekt Red.
Well, yeah. I guess there is that.
Anyway, so it started. It was active from the 22nd of April, and it's going to go right through to the 22nd of April, 2022. So they're going to be trialing it for around a year. So this service allows PS4 and PS5 users in Poland to access over 20 television and movies from Sony Pictures, and this is going to be just a part of your PS Plus subscription. So that will include things like Zombieland, Venom, The Equalizer 2, Baby Driver, Blade Runner 2049. So a few things there. I mean, if it's going to be for free on top of your subscription, why not?
Yeah. Check him out for there.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed Venom for what it was. It was funny. I know a lot of people didn't.
It was a film.
Yeah.
It was okay. It was okay.
I think Tom Hardy did it well. He made it good.
Well, he improves.
I think he carried that film. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so with any luck next year, we might get that, which would be nice.
That'll be good.
I think it's good. It's good for Sony. I think it's like another feather in the cap for PlayStation Plus to try and get people on there. And I mean, if they can maybe purchase some other things, like some series that people actually watch, then it could be a good, unique selling point for them.
Right, just sticking with films. Interestingly, I don't know if anyone here is interested in the Oscars. I think Mark is. I don't really pay too much attention other than like who wins best film. But interestingly, a video game developer had actually won an Oscar for the first time in its history for, I think it was best documentary short subject. So the documentary was called Colette, and it was part of the VR game Medal of Honor Above and Beyond, which was made by Respawn and Oculus Studios. So like the whole documentary is based on this woman called Colette, I think it's Colette Marine Catherine, who was a teenage resistant fighter during World War II. And they made this documentary as part of the game because I think at some point, I've not read too much like what's actually in the game or not, but I'm trying to go off some bits that I've read that like at some point like she's involved in the game and you help her in like in a mission or something like that. But they made this documentary exclusively for the game, and then for it to be like rewarded an Oscar for it is pretty big news for the gaming industry. Like being able to sneak into the movie industry and just take an Oscar like that. So I thought it was pretty good news for him. Well done for Respawn.
Definitely.
Some quick kind of film news as well. Mortal Kombat.
It's all about the films at the moment.
Yeah. Well, it's films, but it's still game related. Mortal Kombat. It's been out, I think, about a week now in the US.
Yeah, it's not been released here, is it?
No, strangely, it didn't have a release in the UK. it didn't come out straight away like Godzilla and Kong did. Like that was a simultaneous release, but for some reason, Mortal Kombat wasn't. It was US only. But we do have a release date for it. Finally, yes, it's coming out to the UK on Thursday, the 6th of May.
Ooh, not long then.
Which happens to land on a special day for someone. Primarily me. It's my birthday.
Oh well, there you go. Happy birthday for that.
So
then.
I know what I'm doing on my birthday. No.
Do we know where it's going to be?
So they're saying it's going to be out on Amazon Prime, YouTube, Google Play, iTunes, and the Sky Store. So for anyone that was interested in the film,
places,
that's when you can watch it. Kind of again, still sticking, not quite movie but series. The final trailer for the final season of Castlevania came out recently. I think last podcast we talked about there was like a teaser trailer for it and saying there was going to be a final one, but they finally dropped the kind of trailer for it. Looks absolute mental, and I can't wait for it because I love Castlevania. Probably to me, it's probably I would say it's probably the best video game adaptation. Not that there's like big words. I don't think there's much competition. Yeah. I don't think there's much competition for it, if I'm truly honest. But maybe we could argue.
Good point, well made.
Maybe, but yeah, it looks really good. And I can't wait. It's going to be on Netflix on the 13th of May. Anyone got any more news?
The PS4 has now sold more games than any other console in history. I don't know what the figure is, so I can tell you. Well,
wow, it'd have to have been the PS2 then.
Yeah.
That must be like over 100 million, easy.
I probably should have had a look at the stats, but I didn't. But that's
well,
what I
if
can
we can quickly pull up PS4 sale numbers. So according to this, as of November 2020, cumulative sales for Sony's PlayStation 4 gaming console has risen to more than 114 million units. Whether that's the highest at that point or whether it changed at another time. In my more recent, I'm just looking at this, according to Wikipedia, PlayStation 2 has sold over 155 million.
Is that console units or games, though? I think that's console units.
That's console units, yeah.
I think Mark's talking about how many games has been sold. Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, is it games?
Yeah. PS4 has sold more games than any other console in history.
Ah, okay. No, I could believe it. All right. Yeah, I could believe that. I don't know who looks up. I don't know how you'd find the total list for that, but no, I can believe that. What do you think is the highest selling game for PlayStation 4 then?
GTA 5.
I'm still sure it's going to be GTA 5.
Gotta be, ain't it? Gotta be.
That game's sold more everywhere.
Probably highest on PS3 and all.
Highest on PS4, PS3, Xbox 360, Xbox One, PC, mobile.
GTA 5 mobile.
Smart fridge.
Yeah, smart fridge. Engage.
Okay, Mass Effect Legendary Edition. It will have an 11 gig day one patch.
Wait.
Cool.
It's to be expected nowadays, isn't it?
But I am looking forward to that game. It should be good. Rumours. Shall we hit the rumour, Mil?
Go on then.
Ooh.
I'll give you a couple of rumours.
Go on.
So, there's a rumour that NetherRealm, who do the Mortal Kombat and Injustice games, that they could be working on a Marvel fighting game.
I think I heard of this one. I actually didn't believe it when I heard it.
I mean, it'd be good if it did. I
Marvel
think...
versus Mortal Kombat or something like that. That'd be pretty cool.
No.
Oh, Marvel DC, wouldn't it? Come on.
Marvel versus DC.
Come on.
They make the Injustice games. Come on, we need it.
But second rumour, this one I really like the sound of. There's a rumour that a Microsoft first-party studio is working on a game based on The Mandalorian.
That could be good.
Well, as long as Baby Yoda's force choking people, then that's all I care about.
Ah, Grogu.
Yeah,
Grogu.
I wonder how it'd be. What would it be like? Would it go through like the show, or would it be like a spin-off? Maybe like before the show, maybe like a prequel.
Well, the thing about The Mandalorian, it's kind of like each episode's kind of its own thing, isn't it? I mean, there's like an overarching story, but it's a space western, isn't it? I think that's what it's done at. So I'd quite like it. Just keep it like that. I'd like it as like a RPG kind of thing.
First person or third?
Third.
Third.
I want to see his armor and all that. I don't want to.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that'd be cool. Yeah, I could see it. I'd like for it to be like the game that Boba Fett should have had, because I think there was around the time before LucasArts kind of got shut down after the Disney buyout, and there was rumors that they were making a kind of like a Boba Fett kind of game. But anything like that, I'd be over the moon.
Yeah, sounds good. Right, I've got two other things. The International Olympic Committee. They're making a move into virtual sports. They're having the first ever Olympic virtual series. So the International Olympic Committee will partner with 5 international sports federations. This is from their website, and games publishers to produce the Olympic virtual series, the first ever Olympic licensed event for physical and non-physical virtual sports. Taking place ahead of the Olympic Games Tokyo 2020, the OVS will begin on 13th of May, continuing through to 23rd of June. The Olympic Virtual Series will mobilise virtual sport, esports, and gaming enthusiasts all around the world in order to reach new Olympic audiences, whilst also encouraging the development of physical and non-physical forms of sports in line with the recommendations of the IOC's Olympic agenda. The following international federations and gaming publishers will be part of the Olympic Virtual Series. Quite a few of these I've not heard of, but the World Baseball Softball Confederation, and that's by eBaseball Powerful Pro Baseball 2020 by Konami. I've not heard of that, but Union Cyclist International, so the UCI, Zwift Inc. I've not heard of them. Not heard of that publisher. World Rowing, and that'll be it just says open format. I don't know what that means. World Sailing, that's by Virtual Regatta and Virtual Regatta SAS. But this is the interesting one. Federation International de l'Automobile, so the FIA. Gran Turismo, Polyphony Digital. So Gran Turismo is going to be an Olympic event.
That's it.
That's where the world's going. Yeah.
The OVS creates a stage to connect the physical sporting world with the virtual and simulation sports gaming community, providing an opportunity to engage with the Olympic movement. Each federation will offer its corresponding event in a format that maximizes online mass participation and prioritizes inclusivity and participation through the OVS. The mass participation series allows participants around the world to compete from home or their training facilities. I don't know. In order to generate excitement in the build-up to the Olympic Games Tokyo 2020. All 5 events will differ in form and concept and will operate via the sport's respective publishing platform, where participants will be able to take part. Fans will have the opportunity to engage and follow the events on the Olympic channel. Additional information on how to participate, as well as prizes, including the select events, will be announced soon. Information will also be available on theolympicchannel.com. So there. That's quite interesting. I mean, can we become Olympic participants? Maybe.
Well, if they did like pro clubs as an option, I think we'd definitely be up there because we're amazing.
Well, it's not one of these federations though, is it? So it looks like it's baseball, cycling, rowing, sailing, and
driving.
Yeah.
Well, that's not an actual Olympic event, is it?
No, but the first thing that comes to mind is what the opening ceremony would look like, because you've just got these gamers standing next to these people that have honed their bodies for decades to the peak performance.
Yeah, just
Oh, that'd be amazing.
big lad Phil.
That's it.
Munching on a kebab. With a can of Red Bull.
Down in a
That's
monster
it. Eating
energy can.
Cheetos, just all of the stereotypes.
Yeah, well, dusting all of the keyboard and all that. Dear. Right, shall we end on something ridiculous?
Go on then. Love ridiculous.
Okay. Google Stadia. That's not the ridiculous part. Or maybe it is. But Google Stadia. They made an announcement that they were very, very proud of. For the record, this is 17 months after Stadia has been released. And they put out a tweet saying, "Good news, a search bar is now rolling out to the Stadia store." This is Google,
Oh, thanks for that.
after 17 months, finally putting a search bar on the Google Stadia store. And they were
Right.
very, very proud of it.
So this is just so they could probably sell ads to games to push them up the rankings for the search.
Why is it taking Google, the search bar enthusiasts, to put a search function on Stadia after 17 months? What is wrong with them?
Just Stadia, innit? That's all I'm going to say.
I mean,
Stadia.
what? Anyway, just stupidity. Right, that's the end of the news, I think.
Well, I got a last
Oh, is it
few
not?
couple of pieces. Sorry.
I think you said you didn't have any.
I never said
The
anything. I
lies.
just said, does anyone else have any other news?
Ugh. Go on.
Sorry. Go on then.
So we're not ending on something ridiculous then. Right. Go
No,
on.
unfortunately not. I'll see how I end this one, depending on how I put these in order. But anyway, Bloomberg. I think we're all some of us might be familiar with the news organization, or at least one of the reporters. Jason Schreier.
Sure.
Yeah. What you said? Because I butch names too bad, but Jason. So he put out a report recently. That a remake of Star Wars: Knights of the Old Republic is in production at the moment. It's been handled by a developer called Aspire, who have handled, if I remember correctly, I think they've handled the ports of old Star Wars games to stuff like Switch and mobile, because like Knights of the Old Republic got put on mobile recently, I think. And there's been all the other old games, so like Jedi Knight 2 was on Switch and PlayStation 4, I think, as well as like Star Wars Racing and others. But according to him, this remake will contain elements from the original game and its sequel, which will bring certain things in line with the current Star Wars canon. So, could be setting up that Old Republic thing that was rumored that Disney wanted to look into for like a new film series, maybe. But I'm excited for this. Star Wars: Knights of the Old Republic is like a big favorite of mine. Like probably my favorite game out of BioWare. And I just can't wait for any more news to come out for this. Like I'm absolutely looking forward to it. Other than that, I'll end on one piece of news of a developer that's a favorite of yours, Mark. So IO Interactive.
Yes.
Are reportedly working on an Xbox exclusive game. All that we kind of know about it currently is that it will be dragon themed.
There was recently where I heard news they had expanded. They'd like bought a second.
Okay.
Because obviously they're going to be working on James Bond.
Well, yeah.
So
So at
maybe
the
they
moment,
bought-
like they've got the
This
James
is partly
Bonds.
why they bought this other. I don't want to say studio. Did they buy a studio? I don't know. But I think they've opened like a second location. I think.
Yeah. Yeah. It sounds like it. They've probably like bought a studio and then like renamed them. Blah blah blah.
Maybe,
This is where
maybe.
they're located. That's how it normally goes.
I presume they're splitting their
Team.
duties now. Yeah.
Oh, possibly. I thought the interesting part of this is that the games will be published under the Xbox Game Series, Xbox Game Studios banner. So it looks like it will be Xbox exclusive. Whether there's any hint of a potential partnership between IO and Xbox, I'm not sure.
Not that I've heard, but who knows?
No, I've not heard either. I knew at the time when they were looking to split from Square Enix, they did have quite a good number of acquisition offers.
Yeah.
But decided to go it alone, which is a good choice, I think, because it sounds like they've done excellent with the Hitman games that they've done. But yeah,
They managed to then acquire the James Bond license, so they must have done something right.
Yeah, they must have done something right. I mean, easily like the perfect fit of developer and IP, I think. But yeah, I'd be interested to see what this whole game is going to be about for Xbox.
Intriguing.
One for the future, I'm sure.
So, shall we move on to what we're currently playing?
Yeah.
Yes, sirree.
Go on, Nathan. Kick us off.
Okay. So, I finished Immortals Phoenix Rising. So that's good. The end was a bit strange. It was interesting. There was like a twist at the end. So in the game,
spoilers.
I'm not going to go into it itself. I just want to let everyone know that there is a bit of a twist. But anyway,
eventually,
there's somebody in the game that doesn't read the memo and doesn't realize the game is called Immortals Phoenix Rising. It's not all about him. It's all about Phoenix. Anyway, that something transpires and that gets sorted out.
Okay.
But yeah, towards the end, like it's just so hilarious because like if you're into like Greek mythology and puns and wordplay, then you'll absolutely adore this game. And yeah, just towards the end, they just ramped it up to 11. It was absolutely amazing. And then after I finished it, I just had an empty hole in my heart where Phoenix should be, but he wasn't there anymore.
Aww.
And then I had to move on to other games. So one game that you talked about last week, Mark, Watch Dogs Legion. I've actually started playing that.
Ooh.
Quite enjoying it so far. Now, I played the first Watch Dogs and I didn't really get into it that much, but this one just seems a lot more accessible and a lot easier to like get on board with. And yeah, I'm enjoying it so much. I've picked my character that I am. I'm not going to go into why because that incorporates a bit of bad language.
Sounds about right.
But that's honestly, I read like a little bit of this person's bio, and I'm like, yeah, perfect. I'm going to be that guy. But yeah, I've got to the point where I've like finished like the introduction side of it, and I'm roaming around doing my first few missions and things. I got into an altercation and stole a police car, and they are absolutely rapid. Just like racing through London, like futuristic dystopian London.
Yeah.
While they're after you, it's great. Just enjoying it so far. I was like dead set on doing like a load of the missions, and then
you were dead seg.
dead set. Oh, he said it. Oh,
carry on.
Yeah, and then I got into an altercation, and then I decided to just go GTA style and cause havoc.
Of course you did.
Yeah,
of course you did.
Like you do. But yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. I've not invited anybody to like join our group yet.
You're going it alone, are you?
Yeah, I'm Lone Ranger right now. But I like how you can like patch into like people and like see what they do for a living, like what special like skills they've got, who they know to try and like help you in the in your journey. But yeah, surprisingly I've got into it. I mean, the only reason I've got Watch Dogs Legion is because I got it with my PS5 along with Immortals Phoenix Rising, and I thought I don't even want to play them games, but loved Immortals Phoenix Rising, and now I'm really liking Watch Dogs Legion. So sometimes greatness is thrust upon you, and you've got to just take it and roll with it. But yeah, really enjoying that. And a game that I got recently, this might interest you, Mark, because it is actually a simulation game.
Ooh.
I've got something called House Flipper.
Oh, I've got that, but I've not played it yet.
Right. I think you're in for a treat, honestly. Right, I'll get into it. I only got this yesterday, and I'm pretty excited. So basically, it's a simulation game where at the beginning you basically yourself in a shack, and you've got like a laptop where you accept jobs. So my first job was that there'd been like a break-in in somebody's house where the house had been ransacked, and you had to like refit a radiator. I'm like, right, okay. So I got in
Did they
there.
steal the radiator?
Well, it seems like there wasn't one there. There'd been some sort of altercation between an ex-boyfriend. So you get these emails. It tells like a story of what's happened, and you choose to accept the job or leave the job to build
This is
money
more in
up.
depth than I thought it was going to be. I didn't think
Yeah.
there were going to be backstories.
Yeah, well, I'll move on to this, but there was one email that annoyed me, so I'm like not going to do that job for that person. Anyway, so I got into the house, I cleaned it up generally. So you've got like a broom that you can use to like clean the floors and stuff. You can pick things up, move them around, and basically get the house into a better state. But for the radiator, you've got like an iPad style thing where you can go and buy stuff online with your money that you've got. So that money just offsets the earnings that you get from your job, and then you fit the radiator to the wall, and then you've got to like turn all the spokes and things to get it all in place and stuff. And it's just so relaxing, like going into a house, looking like what do I need to do? So first I'll clean the floors, then I'll put all the furniture back where it needs to be. I'll clean the windows. Oh, you've got a steamer to clean the windows. So you've got to hold down like the trigger at the back to start steaming. And there's always one little bit that always evades me, but I'm just like drifting down with my steamer, getting all that done. You paint walls, so somebody will say to you, I want my house freshening up, and they'll say what colours they want. So what you've got to do is kind of like gauge the size of the room to what kind of pot you need to buy. So you're not like spending money on paint that you're not going to use. So yeah, and then the latest job that I've done is for a new family that's going to move into a house, and they've got a baby on the way. So they wanted me to clean the house up because they've just bought it, and decorate and furnish the baby's room. So yeah, that baby's got a killer room to go into when they eventually move into the house.
It's black walls.
No, I did it. It was like an autumn red. I decided to do it for him. But everything else is like grey and chrome, so it's like pretty modern. Yeah, so there was an email that I got from a prospective client that quite annoyed me, because they said, I want some work doing. I want all this sorting out, but I'm not going to pay you unless it's done to my exact specification. I'm like, listen, I'm the tradesman. As long as I do the work, then you pay me. So I ignored that email. Like, no.
Yeah.
Don't want clients like that. I'll be honest.
Can't
Like, it
do
reminded me of some people in real life at work, and that like kind of hit home. So like, sod them.
Yeah. Start getting now flashback.
Yeah. Yeah, so I've managed to get enough money together now that I can buy my first property to kind of renovate and then hopefully sell on for a profit. But yeah, I'm surprised with like how much depth there is, and like just how nice it is to sit back and then clean houses, really. I never thought I'd get that from it. But when the job's done, you just feel like a sense of achievement, like, oh, I've done this for somebody and they've paid me, and then I'm a step closer to buying a house and then being able to renovate that and like make more money down the line. But it's a good little game. I can't believe how much I'm enjoying it.
Sounds like my kind of game.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm just imagining myself like cleaning up this virtual house and then just watching my own house around me, just like getting dirty and dirty.
Honestly, though, I've got to admit, like, there were a few bits that I needed to do in the house that day, and I'm like, oh, I feel bad now because like my virtual house is spotless, but look around me, pots everywhere.
Yeah.
So you do get a little bit of guilt if there's anything wrong with your own property. But no, it's really fun, and it's a nice change of pace, like from like playing something like Phoenix or Watch Dogs Legion or any game that's like pretty full on. But yeah, I managed to get it for about a tenner off Amazon, so like really happy with it for that price. Another game that I played, one actually on Matt's suggestion. It was one of the PS Plus, sorry, not PS Plus. It was one of the Xbox Live Gold games for April, and it was Hard Corps Uprising. Now that game is absolutely solid, just a bullet hell shooter. And I must have tried the first level about 7 or 8 times, and I cannot get past it.
It's a difficult one.
Yeah, I think it's a game that you just got to keep going to try and master. I've not mastered it yet. Yeah, I actually enjoy it. Do you know, for what it is, like for going through, shooting enemies, and trying to like traverse the maps and stuff. I thoroughly enjoy it, but it's just too difficult for me right now. I think I'll probably. It's a good job I had House Flipper to fall back on. Otherwise, I might have got myself into a bit of an angry state. But yes, I've played a bit of that, enjoying that. So hopefully, I'll be able to get through that level soon. Another game that I tried in the Xbox Live Gold games for April was European Truck Racing Championship.
Of course he did. He went for it. He went for it.
So, don't waste your time on that game. It's utter dross. Horrible. That's all I'm going to say. I got like 4 minutes into my first race, and I'm like, yeah, this is not for me. The trucks handle terribly, like a truck would, but I don't like it. So yeah, I mean, if anybody does get something out of European Truck Racing Championship, by all means, all power to you. But it's just not the racing game for me. And then to try and cleanse the palate, I went on Forza Horizon 4 for a bit. So yeah,
real racing game.
Yeah. So yeah, I've been playing quite a few games. So yeah, that's me. What about you, Mark?
Right. So let's start off with a weird game called Do Not Feed the Monkeys.
Ooh.
Now, in this game, you play a guy who, through a friend, has become a member of a secretive club known as the Primate Observation Club, where you observe the lives of caged monkeys, i.e., you spy on individuals through live surveillance feeds. That's what it is. So the entire game takes place in your apartment, and you use a computer program called Monkey Vision to watch these feeds, and you have to gather information on the people and places in them. And there are like multiple feeds. I think you start with 4, and each of them are referred to as a cage. And you watch them, and you have to mark down in your notebook what you see and hear. And you then have to use this information to cross-reference on the internet to identify specific details about the people and places in them. And the end goal is to close these cages by discovering a certain amount of information from each one. Now, it shares some sort of similarities with, Beholder, which I mentioned a few months ago. But basically, you're spying on people and stuff like that. But this is not quite as dark in its tone as that. But anyway, while you're doing all that, you've also got to like monitor life simulation stuff. So it's like your hunger and your sleep, and you got to go to work and pay your bills, like pay your rent, that kind of thing. And every 5 days, you are evaluated by this club. And there are rules to this club. One of which is do not feed the monkeys, which is basically telling you that you're not supposed to interact with the people you're watching, but you can do it if you find out the right information. And you're required to purchase new cages every 5 days. So you start with 4, and before your next evaluation in 5 days, you have to have 9. And then every 5 days, that number grows exponentially. So the next time you require 16 in 5 days, and then so forth. So what happens is you end up having all these feeds running at the same time. But you can only watch one at a time. So there's like multiple things going off, and you have to like keep switching between them and observing and making notes and all that. So it's all about management, basically, about what's happening in each one.
Mm.
And I have to say that overall about the game, I liked the premise of it, but I wasn't a fan of the execution. Firstly, the game does a bad job of telling you what you actually need to do. I couldn't really work out it. The explanation was a bit poor in terms of how you mark things down and that kind of thing. There seems to be very little feedback to whether you're doing things right or how far you've progressed. Some cages close, but there's no explanation as to why they have. And but the feed just remains open on the thing, so you don't actually know if it's closed or not. It's just, I found it quite annoying. There was a bug that kept the notebook open, so I couldn't click on anything. The life simulation stuff I just found a real distraction. It made it less fun. I mean, I get the point of it was all about management of these things, but it's the actual studying and making notes and that kind of thing I kind of liked, but all this other gubbins that just went off. This is a bit weird, like if your hunger drops, it starts making like a grumbling noise of your stomach. And when you're wearing headphones, that sounds horrible. Yeah, so I came away, and basically my game ended because I just forgot to pay the rent once. So I just got chucked out of the flat by a landlady with a copper. And that was the end of my game. And I just thought, oh, okay, I just can't be bothered to carry on playing this. Which was a shame, because I liked the premise of it, of the observing and the studying and writing down, doing detective work and that kind of thing. But it was just, I won't play it again. Another game I played, which I think both of you have played, is Wolfenstein: The New Order.
Ooh.
Yes.
Have you completed it?
I have.
What are your thoughts?
So, well, just a bit of backstory. So basically, this is a first-person shooter, and you play as William B.J. Blazkowicz. Beginning during the Second World War, you infiltrate a facility with the idea of finding a guy called Deathshead. And along the way, you discover that Nazis are using advanced technology to their advantage. Things don't go to plan. Your group is captured, and you're forced to make this morality choice, aren't you?
Yeah.
Which ends up having slight implications on the story and gameplay further down the line. In the ensuing chaos, he suffers a significant injury that puts him in a coma, and for 14 years, BJ is pretty much in a vegetative state. Eventually regaining normal functionality, he goes and discovers that those pesky Nazis only went on and won the war, didn't they? Dear me. So BJ sets off to kill all Nazis, basically, and find Deathshead again. I'd say I quite like the gunplay in it. That's quite enjoyable.
It's fun. It's like, honestly, you could just mow down enemies because they're not the cleverest, are they?
Particularly when it came to like the dual wielding. That was fun. I didn't like. I really wish it auto picked up ammo though. This really irritated me.
It's a very archaic design still.
It's just like I was just mashing square to pick up the ammo and all other gubbins and that. And it's just like, but that's also the button for reload. So it's like, I'll shoot around. Oh, I will need to pick these bullets up. Oh no, I'm reloading after shooting one bullet. And it's just like, just auto pick up the ammo and let me just reload when I want.
Yeah,
that was annoying.
One thing that I really like about the game is I like anything that's like alternate history, like if something changes, like in the past, how it affect the future.
Yeah.
And I like how there was like a moon base and stuff that you could go through. That was quite nice.
This was a bit. The moon bit was a bit of a surprise. It all went very eye in the sky.
Well, wait till you play the second one.
Oh great! I can't wait now. Then I might have to watch that film. Yeah. Big up to my boy Max. Big fan of him. Is it like a man child, for lack of a better term?
Yeah.
I very much enjoyed the side mission where you have to go around and find his toys.
Yeah.
It's like, I've lost my toys, and it's just like, yeah. Good humoured. It's got a bit of adult humour in there, hasn't it?
Oh yeah, definitely.
I mean, the fact that it's called BJ Blazkowicz, that's one for a start. And then there's scenes with him and is it Anya? Is that her name?
Oh,
is
was that the girlfriend?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's scenes with her.
very adult indeed.
Very.
There's a part fairly early on a train.
Oh, I was just about to say the same thing. Yeah.
Well, I don't know if you're going to say what I'm going to say, but so basically you're trying to blend in on this train.
Yeah.
It's a Nazi train. Are you tasked with carrying a train? No, you're not. You can't. A tray. Tasked with carrying a tray down the train.
Yeah.
And I have to say, this just goes to show the way my brain works. I just spent a good minute just like swirling the tray around, just watching the coffee swirl around in the mug, just wanting it to spill over. Just like, oh, can I get it to spill? Can I get it to spill? It's just like, that's brilliant. But yeah. Well, what were you going to say about the train?
Oh, just the well, not about swirling tea and coffee around, but just the picture thing that you've got to do.
Yeah, the card, the photograph thing.
So some of that were quite disturbing.
Right. You grabbed the gun, didn't you? Admit it, you grabbed the gun first, didn't you?
Yes.
Yep, so did I. I thought, I just want to see it. And then you just like slaughtered immediately. It's good fun. I think you mentioned this on a previous pod. The Easter egg, where you go to bed and you have this nightmare.
Yeah.
And then in your nightmare, you're just playing the original Wolfenstein.
That's
really
a nice
cool.
homage, isn't it? Yeah.
That was a nice. That was a nice change of. Well, I won't say change of pace, but it was a nice change.
Nice surprise.
Yeah. But I'll finish with one thing I hated about that game. That I really hated about it.
Nazis.
Yeah.
Well, now you say it, that I kind of have to say that. But the other thing that I hated about the game, I hated those bloody dogs.
Yeah.
Oh, the dogs. Yeah.
What is with those dogs? What was with all the jump scares in the game? There's a surprising amount.
Now you mention it, yeah.
It's like, what is going? And most of them involve those dogs.
Yeah. They're just so quick, and they just jump on top of you, and
Yeah.
then you either stab them
And
or
it's just like
snap the necks or something.
Stab with knife. Yeah, I just hate them. Anyway, great game though. Really enjoyed that game.
Do you think you'll play the new Colossus?
Yes, because I own it.
Oh, good.
So I will play it. But I've also got what's
Young Blood, Old Blood.
Is it Old Blood, the DLC one?
Yeah, it came out as a standalone game as well.
Yeah.
Because there was two three spin-offs actually. There was a VR spin-off, and then there was Old Blood, and then Young Blood.
Yeah, because I bought them all around the same time, I think. So I think it's Old Blood. But yes, I shall play that eventually. One final game. Me and my brother, we played a co-op game called, well, it's not just co-op, you can play single player. It's called Supermarket Shriek. Have you heard about it? Have you heard of this?
Don't think
so. Yeah, we were playing it over share play, and it's like a puzzle kart racer kind of thing. How can you? I don't know how you describe it. So you control a man and a goat. Stick with me. A man and a goat, and you're inside a shopping trolley. Okay.
Both of you.
Yep.
Okay.
And using the power of your screams or shrieks, you use that to propel you around a series of obstacles inside various stores. Okay. So if the man screams, you turn one way. If the goat screams, you turn the other way. And if you scream at the same time, you go straight on. So you have to coordinate with your partner to maneuver your way around. But as I say, you can also play it one player. But where's the fun in that? So some levels you just have to reach the finish. Others you have to like knock down stacks of beans and things like that. Others you have to collect items on a shopping list. It's big up on it's set in Britain, and it's big up on its parodies of shops and that kind of thing. So it's like all the signs are like reminiscent. They've all got like the font and design of like famous shops. It's like one that's like reminiscent of Curry's, another one that's reminiscent of Tesco's, and one shop that's called Winton's. Now I don't know if anybody gets that reference, but here in Britain there was a very famous game show called Supermarket Sweep, which was hosted by a guy called Dale Winton. So, yeah. But it's jolly good fun. Did get a bit angry with my brother. His coordination's a bit off, but it was good fun. He said he found it quite stressful, though. But maybe that was because of me.
Not surprising with you shouting his ear.
Yeah, it might have been that.
Brother's a bit angry. Don't know why.
It's a good, fun little game, though. But, so I want to play more of that. But we could only play a certain amount because it was just like, I think I was getting angry and he was getting stressed. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd like to go back onto that. I enjoyed it. Go on, Matt. What you played?
What have I played? So kind of moving on from last podcast. I've gone through and completed Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor. So I think my overall thoughts of the game is I enjoy it to an extent. The gameplay is really good. So if you've never played it, it's very Assassin's Creed-esque, or like the old style Assassin's Creed, where you've got kind of a parry, kind of like a parry move. You've got a normal attack. You've got a stun, and then you've got sort of like a dodge, or if you dodge into the orcs, you can like jump over them, provided that they don't have the strength to block that. I should say, not the stat. I did enjoy once I started opening the world up a little bit more, getting into the second world, and then being able to brand orcs. I think that's when the game starts kind of coming into its own and starts being fun and stuff. Being able to get your own little orc army and fight, like the captains and the war chiefs, turn them into them, and then eventually go on to fight. I think it was the Hand of Sauron. Not to try and spoil it too much, but it's a pretty old game. So I like that part of it. I think it's just the story of two people who want revenge on the same person, but one person's being used for that revenge. Didn't really like click with me. I don't know if it was just like I'm trying to remember the character you play as, Talon, I think it is. There was just no real personality that came through for me. It was just kind of a typical revenge story, but the guy just didn't have any charisma or anything. So I couldn't really get into the story of it. I'm sure people who love like the Middle-earth stories would are probably thrilled about like the whole story and where it's set, kind of in sort of timeline wise. But storage wasn't for me. But the game itself was fairly solid, so I enjoyed it that much. So after that, I've moved on to a game that you guys are playing the sequel to, but I decided to keep it in line with how I'm going, at least story-wise. So I started playing Watch Dogs 2. So yes, this is a game based in San Francisco. You play as Marcus, a young kid who is pretty good hacker, if you could say so himself. A bit cocky sometimes, fairly overconfident. And he hacks his way into Bloom facility, I think it is, because he needs to erase his record because they've gone down on a few offensible charges that apparently he did not do, potentially. I don't know if it made clear if he did or did not do this. But after doing that, getting out of getting your record, is it expunged? I think is the word. Is it?
Maybe.
Wiped probably is a better use of the word. You leave there, and the group that call themselves DedSec in San Francisco welcomes you in, and you start doing hacking missions pretty much around San Francisco, trying to take down the big old Bloom baddies. So I played through this, and I was happy that it wasn't like the first game. Like Marcus has an actual personality.
He doesn't take himself quite as seriously as the first
No,
game.
it's very like tongue in cheek, and I like the little group that Marcus goes into. Like I think like Sinatra is I suppose the artist in the group. Josh is like the kind of
he's miserable. He is miserable.
Yeah, he's like the stereotypical kind of like geek, like wants to keep himself away from people, doesn't like going outside. There's Horatio, who I don't think it was quite clear like what his kind of role was. Don't want to spoil into the future, but like he seems to be like the extrovert of the group, like the outgoing kind of guy. And he works for one company that you need to get into with his help later on. But I thought like the standout character in this game was Wrench.
I think everyone loves Wrench. Yeah,
He's hilarious. I love his mask. His mask is very standout. Like any kind of emotions that he does, his mask kind of lights up with the emoticon of it. He's just funny. He just wants to like destroy stuff all the time. But yeah, I think the game is a much big improvement over the first one. There's more variety to it, and like San Francisco just seems more happy place to be than
it's a lot more
Chicago.
bright. A lot more bright and vibrant, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a lot more colors used. The driving feels a little bit better. The driving feels actually pretty good in this one. For some reason, early on, I didn't want to like. I was trying to do like a pacifist run. Like, I didn't really want to kill people, so I'd try and like stun them.
Oh, did you want to use those? I forgot what they're called now.
Yeah, he's like yo-yo thing.
Yeah, I can't remember what you call them now, but yeah.
I don't know. I can't remember either. But I got to a point in one mission where like everyone's just bearing down on you. I was like, oh, screw this! I'm just gonna start shooting. Like I feel like Marcus shouldn't be doing this because it's not his character. He wouldn't kill. But like for me personally, I was just like, I'm getting overwhelmed. I might as well just whip out my assault rifle and just start mowing people down.
Because you had a 3D printer, didn't you? Is that where
yes,
you
there's a
make things,
3D printer in the hackerspace where you can get military weapons or DedSec kind of version of them.
Yeah.
And all the DedSec ones are always better to use anyway. Yeah, so I've been playing that. I've gone through and completed it. And as of about, I think it was 11 a.m. yesterday morning, managed to get my last trophy for it, and so I've never game platinum.
Yay! I didn't platinum. I completed it, but I did not platinum. I wasn't going to go that far, but yeah.
It took a while because like the last two trophies that I had were multiplayer ones, so
that's why I never did it.
So I actually enjoyed the multiplayer in this one.
Yeah, I have to switch the multiplayer bit off.
Off.
They really irritates me when I'm in the middle of doing something and then somebody says you have been invaded. I'm just like, no, I was on Alcatraz Island once.
You got invaded.
Where you just got invaded. It just really irritated me. So I had to like jump in the water to like try and get away. So I'm just like swimming away.
I don't care if you hack me.
Escape from Alcatraz, but
I actually like the hacking ones. Funny enough, because I remember when they introduced it into the first game. I enjoyed it then, where you got to find the person who's hacked you, and then I think at that point, if they found you, it was kind of over in the first game. Whereas in this one, if they found you, you then had to you have to escape away from them.
Yeah.
And like 9 times out of 10, I always seemed to hack people and they never found me. I was like pretty good at it. So I enjoyed those. But yeah, the last two trophies were you have to kill the bounty hunter that's after you. You have to kill one bounty hunter. And then the other trophy was to, as the bounty hunter, kill 5 fugitives, I suppose. And that was the one that took a while, because like every time, and this was an annoying bit of this game, was that every time that I wanted to initiate a bounty hunt, it would put me into like an armored truck situation. I'm like, I don't want to go after the armored truck. I want to go after the fugitive. Stop putting me into this. Although I've recorded like a 10-minute video of going into one of these games. There's one guy who's got the package on top of this roof, and then there's like three of us going after this package at the same time. And I managed to get away with the package after like a 10-minute chase of like going onto the bridge, jumped off the bridge, managed to get onto a boat, got off the boat, drove away from everyone else, and managed to get away with it. So that was fun. But yeah, no, I finally got my platinum, which I was happy about. So I do want to get Legion at some point. I think it might not be the next thing on my list. I'm not sure what's the next game on my list to platinum.
Yeah, that's it. You just platinum all the games.
Yeah, it's strange. It's kind of almost like revitalized my don't know what the right word is. Feelings in video games. Like I started getting like really down on video games for a while because it's just, I don't know. I got a bit like aimless with like what I wanted to play. But kind of since focusing on trying to do platinums, I've suddenly got like
something to strive for.
Like a second life of like I'm liking video games again. But anyway, that's talk for another time. Something else that I've been playing that came out Friday was new Pokemon Snap. So if you don't know what this is a first-person on-rails shooter where you don't kill Pokemon, but you do shoot them with your camera, if that makes sense. So it's basically just like you've got certain levels where you're in like a miniature hoverboard craft thing, and you go through a route through this level where you just take photos of Pokemon. And it was I remember playing the first one when I was like a kid and absolutely adoring it. Like loved this like different route that Pokemon was going down. And this one, like the new one, seems to have just captured that essence of the first game again, but just made it modern. I'm really enjoying it so far. I do like that every Pokemon that you capture now has like a star rank. So you got like 1 to 4 stars for each Pokemon that you take a photo of, and those are ranked based on kind of like what the Pokemon's currently doing at that time in the photograph. So like say it's just kind of standing still, not really doing anything, it's probably like a 1 star. If it's eating the fruit that you throw out, it's probably a 2 star. Maybe if it's in flight or if it's moving in a particular way, it could be 3 or 4 star. 4 stars generally seems to be if the Pokemon does like a move, or like so if I don't know, if let's just say Pikachu was suddenly doing like a Thunderball or something. He took a photo of that, that'd be like a 4 star thing. And then each 4 is also ranked based on so the size of the Pokemon in the 4, how central it is in the 4, the direction the Pokemon's facing at the time, if there's any other Pokemon in the photograph as well, and then something that might be happening in the background as well. But so far, like it's been a pleasure to play. It's just kind of nice to just chill out, just take photographs of Pokemon, doing random stuff. There's a funny one of I forgot what the Pokemon is. It's like a poison Pokemon, purple. Begins with S. Nathan might know. It looks like a scorpion. Scorpion that's purple.
Oh,
Yep. Nathan's gonna research it. But like I'm in this like desert level, and I managed to hit it with a fruit, and it ends up getting caught up in this like tornado and just starts going whirling in this tornado for some reason.
it's called Score Rupee.
Skull Rupee, that's it. I could probably name you all of like the 151 Pokemon. After that, it starts getting blurry, because there's so many. But it's a lot of fun. I'd definitely recommend it for anyone who does get a Switch. Mark, but so yeah, so who knows? So that's been fun, and you can photos that you take as well. You can put on the internet, and they can be like ranked by other people as well. So that's kind of cool, new little feature for the game. Other than that, the only other thing that I've been playing for half an hour at a time, separate to weekends, has been the Resident Evil Village demos.
I've watched playthroughs of these, so there's no way I'm going to play them myself. But
you're not going to play them yourself. Okay. So the first weekend, which was like 2 weekends ago, was the Village demo. And that was probably my favorite demo of the two, just because there's a little bit more exploration to it. Like it's a bit kind of mysterious of where you get dropped, where you need to go. You know, you go into a certain house, you start looking for items and whatnot. And then you get to a point where you start you'll come up against like the I suppose the main enemies of the game, the Lycans. And they are an absolute bullet sponge, and also like to dodge whenever I shoot, which is not fun.
Get good, Matt. Get good.
Yeah. Well, this is why I'm playing the demos, so I can get into it once I play the full game. One annoying aspect actually of the demo that I found was there's a little house kind of before the Lycans kind of appear. You can go into and you find a shotgun. It's like, oh, cool, I've got a shotgun. This is going to be useful against Lycans whenever they appear and whatnot. And then when I got to him on the PS5, I held like the left or L2. I always call it left trigger, but you hold the L2 down to zoom in, get a more accurate shot in. But when I went to press the fire button, the R2, there's quite a bit of force to it. Compared to when I was using the pistol, like you've really got to hunker down like it's a shotgun trigger, I suppose. I'm assuming that's the effect they were going for.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing that I had with Cold War when I started playing on PS5.
Are you saying you hate the haptic feedback? Is that what you're saying, Matthew?
How dare you? It's an innovation.
Maybe not. I don't think I hate it. I think it's more of a.
You're not used to it.
Annoyance. Maybe? Yeah, maybe I'm not used to it because it's a different use of the haptic feedback. But it's you replicating actually using shotgun. But I'm like, I want to fight it quick, and I've got to squeeze the button down.
But can you turn? I mean, obviously, I don't have a PS5, but can you turn off like just the triggers, or is it all or nothing?
I think it's all or nothing thing. I know with.
Oh, that's a shame. That's a shame if it is the case.
I'm not sure. I know with Cold War, you could lighten it so it wouldn't affect the triggers, but you'd still get some of the haptic feedback, but not as much as what you would if you had it like on full blast, basically. I've not tried turning it off. Maybe that's what I'll try in this coming week, seeing as they've extended the 60-minute demo from 1 day to the whole week now. Although you've still only got 60 minutes. That's not changed. It's just you've got a week to play that 60 minutes now.
Do we know if that demo is like both of these combined, or is it a separate thing?
I think it will be. I think it will be both combined because they said you can either play as in the village or the castle demo.
Right, individual.
Yeah, you've got 60 minutes to play.
Either them.
Or
Right,
both.
I see.
Like if you play one, could play it in say like 25 minutes. Well, now you've
So
got
technically, each demo's been released twice. That's what we're getting at.
Yeah. So yeah, PlayStation owners got access to it early, or PS5 owners. Sorry. So yeah. Other than like the haptic feedback, the demos are very impressive. Graphically, it just looks so good. Like I can't understate how good the RE engine looks on PS5. I mean, it already looks impressive anyway with like Resident Evil 7 and the remakes of 2 and 3.
Yeah.
But like having a PS5 to really power it up, it's phenomenal, honestly. Really impressed with it. But yeah, so going through the village, go through the Lycans, go through some of the cutscenes. Before, unfortunately, when I played, my game ended in the middle of a cutscene, which is very annoying.
Unlucky, man.
But like I've seen a playthrough of the village, like how it ends, how you can end it, because you can end these demos. There's a certain point you get. So, and then the castle one. The castle one was really impressive as well. Just how it's seen, like the main hall, like the sound design's really good. Seen some of the little bit more intricate puzzles that you can do. And then getting your first meeting with the sisters, which is frightening. And the other enemy types that I think is going to be in the castle. I don't know if they've been given a name as of yet, but they're essentially like the zombie type characters who want to grab you and seem to like carrying swords around, broadswords and axes to your face, which is great. But you do get a pipe bomb, which is fun to use. Although I never used it. I was like, I'll save this. I might need it for later. Matt, it's a demo. Just use it.
Well, you got the hour-long demo full, so.
Yeah. But I got to see the Duke, which was interesting. Got to see how he works mechanically, which is pretty much similar to how the merchant worked in Resident Evil 4. Collect your money through the game, spend it on getting new weapons, supplies, upgrades, or selling treasure that you find throughout the game, which I'm sure will be just as fun to collect as were in the previous Resident Evil games. I do like that. I didn't get it in my game, but I've seen a little nod to Resident Evil 4 that the Duke does, where he says, the quote is, "What are you buying? Haha, this is just something that an old friend of mine used to say," which was is a reference to the merchant in Resident Evil 4. Like when you talk to him, he's like, "Oh, so what are you buying?" Which is a nice little nod. So yeah, I love the demos, and I just can't wait for this game to come out. I don't know if I'm gonna play the 60-minute stuff because I feel like what I've played is like enough, like to like now I just
teased yourself enough for the main game.
I've teased enough for like now I'm just give me like the final disc.
Give me the game.
So yeah. Ooh. Oh. Cameo from Cat.
It was confirmed, wasn't it? It's Lady Dimitrescu. That was said in the game, isn't it?
It is. The Duke says it. I believe it's the Duke. No, it might be. Is either the Duke or Ethan?
I think it's
a conversation that you have.
Yeah.
But yeah, Lady Dimitrescu.
So basically, it's just without the U. So that's canon now. There we go.
Apparently so.
Fine. Unless we've played that up.
Unless she ends up correcting him later on.
Yeah. She comes in, she like slaps him or something like, "That's not my name." Say it properly. Wow, it took your blood. Yeah, that's what I've been playing.
Shall we move into the Video Game Hall of Fame?
Ah, why not?
Yes.
Okay, so this is where we take an in-depth look at a game of high quality or historical importance and induct it into our pantheon of games we feel deserve special recognition. Our inductee this episode was released in 1997 for the MS-DOS on PC. developed by Bullfrog Productions and published by Electronic Arts. It's Theme Hospital.
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Hey.
I cannot begin to tell you how much I love this game.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Just the quintessential British humour of it's absolutely amazing on its own.
when I was a kid, this was like the pinnacle of gaming for me. Maybe I just loved it so much. But it was the same for a lot of Bullfrog games. I used to love a lot of Bullfrog games.
Mm.
But this may have been the top one for me.
Mm.
Do you remember the opening cinematic of the game? I just thought that was quite funny.
I thought it was terrifying when I was a kid.
Well, yeah, there is that. So there's this bloke and he's sat playing. He's playing another Bullfrog game, I think.
Yeah.
Probably Theme Park World or something.
Yeah, maybe. But he's just sat in like the staff room, just playing it, and then a helicopter turns up, and he's like, he gets up and stands up like Superman, and rips open his shirt with a picture of a doctor on it, and he just strides his way to the operating theatre, flattening a nurse against the wall with a door, like smacks her straight with it.
Yeah.
And then he chucks another nurse out of the way who was moving the stretcher. And then he just gets into the operating theatre and whips out a chainsaw.
Yeah, why not?
That's what you need.
Yeah. And then some alarm goes off or something, and then he just opens up a pit and chucks the patient down. And the patient just screams.
Oh. I think that's the part that's a bit...
Yeah, that was terrifying. Now I think about it. Yeah. So, what is the game? Right,
What is Theme Hospital?
It's a business simulator.
Yes, a hospital business simulator.
Yeah, you could call that.
So it's your job to run a hospital and basically make it the most successful it can be in the area.
Yep.
Or not.
Yeah, or not.
Or not, yeah.
I'm just reading a bit from the quick play guide of Theme Hospital.
Ooh.
It says the Health Ministry of Theme World. The Health Ministry of Theme World. Okay. Have employed you, wisely or otherwise, to run their hospitals. You have to make the decisions that ultimately make or break your career. The better you do, the more points you score, and the higher your salary goes. Do great, and you'll be able to retire to the Bahamas before you reach 50. Mess up, and you won't have a pair of socks to your name. And it's just that sort of humour from these sorts of games. Just love it. So you have to build diagnosis rooms and treatment rooms and clinics and other facilities, don't you? And
to try and to try and cure the illnesses of the patients.
Yeah, so the aim is to diagnose as much as you can and then treat them, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But I found it's all about planning your rooms to get the most efficiency. I ended up taking this very seriously when I would play. Because I was watching a playthrough again, just because I was just intrigued to see how someone else was playing it compared to how I used to play it, and I was actually getting angry, just like shouting at the TV, because it's like, why are you building it like that? Don't put that there, put that there, and it's like, what really irritated me is the GP. So every patient goes into the GP office to begin with, don't they?
GP's office.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they always go into the GP's office first, and then they go on from there.
Yeah.
Well, this guy. I don't know what he was thinking. So, the things you need in each GP office is obviously the desk, the filing cabinet, the patient's chair. Right? They're the three fundamental things.
Yeah.
And if you look at the game, everything that always happens is that the patient walks in and goes to the chair. Okay? And the doctor always goes from the desk to the filing cabinet and then back to his desk. So, what did this Muppet I was watching do? He put the patient's chair the other side of the room from the door. So the patient has to walk across the entire room to get to the chair. And then he had the desk at the other side of the room and the filing cabinet next to the door. So the doctor had to get up from the desk, walk across the room to the filing cabinet, and then walk back to the desk to then have the consultation. I'm just like, what are you doing, you Muppet? It's easy. Patient chair next to door. Filing cabinet next to desk. Problem solved. It's all about efficiency. Get those patients in and out as quickly as possible with a minimum amount of fuss. But Yeah. I mean, I ended up finding like having to do that with every room. So what were we saying there?
I was just going to say some people just want to see the world burn. You would have
Yeah,
absolutely
clearly.
hated watching my playthrough then.
Yeah, you wouldn't like that kind of
What
stuff.
were you doing? Well, have you played it before?
Me?
Yeah.
I've played the PlayStation 1 version and I have my own opinions on that. Yeah, I've only played the PS1 version. And I don't think it ports very well from the PC version using the directional buttons to move like the mouse around.
Right.
I found it really
Yeah,
difficult
that's-
at the start, like because of all the different menus you've got. So your menus for like hiring people, for getting equipment. So starting it, there was quite a bit of a learning curve for me, because I expected just for it to be a lot easier and more intuitive. Me initially playing it, not thinking that it was a PC port. But once you've got over that, I think it probably took me maybe 20, 25 minutes to kind of like start mastering the controls, because I'd get to a point where I'd get a room that I needed to build, and I'd put the doors on, and then after that you can like move your equipment around and things to fill the room up for what you need for your patients. And then it'd elude me what to do next, to place the room.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it took me a little while to get to grips with it because of just that probably difference between the PC and the PlayStation version, and you're not having a keyboard and mouse to play with. Some of the controls were quite jarring, so I wanted to place something somewhere, but the like the pop up would be over the top of the room, so I couldn't like see where I was going to place things properly. That was fairly annoying. Just little things like that, and you can't like rotate the hospital, so you can like try and fit things in. So yeah, a few difficulties like from somebody playing it fairly recently to somebody that would have like played it back in 1997, 1998 and had that nostalgia with it and played it when it was like in essence at its peak.
Yeah.
But I mean, for what the game was, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I loved all the humor. Like reading the back of the box, like the first line is can you balance the books and the bedpans? And then after that, he goes on to say it's a matter of laugh or death. And I'm like, oh my goodness, that had me cracked for about 2 minutes. And I'm like, yes, this is the game for me. But once like I was all set up, I made a lot of mistakes on my first playthrough, and the patients. Yeah,
yeah.
Basically, I hired a load of staff without making the rooms,
Yeah.
which bit of a mistake.
You get told off for that as well. You got too many unoccupied staff.
That's it.
They're not doing anything.
I just had a janitor wandering around, like not doing anything with any rooms, or because there were nothing there for him to do really. And eventually, I learned how to kind of go and get the rooms all sorted, and then hire staff members and like pick the staff members as well, because that's quite important, because each staff member has their own like bio that you can read, so you know if they're going to be good or bad for the
Some
job.
are quite funny as well. Yeah.
Definitely.
A lot are just laser.
Yeah, that's it. But the disparity in the wage is not that much, so you think, for an extra few quid an hour or whatever, or a day, you're definitely going to get the better person. So I think that's when you've really got to like go through the people and find who's right for the job. I liked that bit. That was quite nice.
Like fairly early in the game, there's like you could take a gamble on curing patients, couldn't you? If you didn't have like enough facilities to fully diagnose the patient, you get like the fax machine that always popped up. It's like so it's like, oh, you've got a 80% chance we know the cure for this type of invisibility or whatever. Is it? Do you want to send them for treatment or tell them to wait? Just go to treatment, just always. And inevitably, you end up just killing off the patient.
Pretty much.
Yeah. And then the Grim Reaper turned up, didn't it? Well, I think it's sometimes the Grim Reaper
in
turned
the
up.
holes. Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's another way you're floated off to heaven, isn't there? The souls of the people. I was a big fan of the music. I really liked the music. I read some reviews like saying, no, didn't like the music. But I was like, I love the music. That's what I thought was one of the most stand up. Yeah. I thought it was one of the standout bits of the game. I love the music in it. What was your favourite illness?
Bloaty head.
Bloaty head was good fun.
I think mine was the Elvis impersonators.
King Complex. Yeah.
Yeah, they were fun.
Good.
Hairyitis were always pretty fun.
Yeah, no, that was good. That was good.
They were actually in development. They had to cut a lot of the stuff that they were going to do, and there was actually going to be an illness put into the game called animal magnetism, where you just like had dogs and cats like attached to you. That would have been a funny one to try and cure.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Wow.
apparently,
Oh, go on.
I was just gonna say, apparently, like the developers used to like meet at the pub every week and like just shoot the crap
That's
with
cool.
our ideas and stuff.
Yeah.
And there was like a ton of stuff that like got left on the cutting room floor. But I think like if they could remake it now and put all that stuff in, that some of that would be amazing.
Wow. Animal magnetism is in 2 Point Hospital.
Is it? Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I've not got that far yet.
I'm just reading some of the ones because they had like whenever it told you like you'd unearthed a new illness, he like gave you like a description of them all.
Oh yeah, the description's funny.
This is disease, broken wind, cause using a gymnasium treadmill after a meal, symptom upsetting the people directly behind the patient. I mean, gotta love some of these. Heaped piles, cause standing around by water coolers. Symptom feels like he or she is sitting on a bag of marbles.
Yeah.
Third degree sideburns. Cause wistful longing for the 1970s. Symptom big hair, flares, platforms, and glitter makeup.
That's fine. Have you got the one for is it the squits?
Oh, the squits, yes.
Squits.
The squits is cause eating pizza found under the cooker. Symptom, surely you can guess.
Yeah, that was the first one.
Yeah, it doesn't leave much to the imagination.
Yeah.
A large portion, I found that a large portion of my hospitals had to be allocated to like benches. I'd always get notifications saying there's never enough room for benches. Everyone wants a bench all to themselves.
Mine tended to need more toilets. I'd like near the start of my build, I'd have like one toilet, and then like there'd be too many people, so I'd need to build more toilets. Then the staff get demoralised, so you need to build like staff rooms and stuff.
I'd say the sound effects for the toilets. Did you ever listen to them? It's like everyone some goes to the toilet, it's like and then you just hear a plop.
Yeah.
It's like, I really don't know how they recorded that.
One plop.
I'm not gonna ask. Did you ever notice the product placement in the game?
I
Like
didn't know.
the vending machines.
Yeah,
I had a
I saw
couple
the
of vending
Coke
machines,
vending machines. Yeah.
Well, they're not Coke vending machines. They are Kit Kat vending machines,
Oh no! Yes. Sorry.
which is different.
Definitely.
Hey, I'd love a Kit Kat machine.
Oh yeah, I like Kit Kat, but it just seems really odd because I think that was the only like product placement that was in the game. I wouldn't expect it on a vending machine.
Yeah. Just a deal with
Because it looked like it should be a Coke machine.
It should have been.
Well, saying that,
go on.
I was just going to say, like in a hospital, you don't really want to advertise selling Coke because it's not the best thing for you, is it? Even in the late 90s.
And you get these VIP inspectors turning up as well. Do you remember them?
Oh, they were annoying.
Yeah, they all looked exactly the same though.
Pretty much.
Like, so they're in like the fancy suits, with the top hats, weren't they? Just easily identifiable. Wasn't there one called Billy Savile OBE? I'm sure there was. It's like
I won't be surprised.
You're not going to see that nowadays, I assure you.
No.
Yeah, you mentioned the staff room. It's like, so you could have like arcade machines, couldn't you? And pool tables in there.
Arcade, pool tables, yeah.
But I noticed something when I was playing, is that having a pool table in it is actually detrimental.
Oh, to the work.
Yeah,
of the-
because
yeah.
when they're doing it, it doesn't recharge their health stamina, so it actually just wastes time in the staff room. So I used to just do away with the pool table.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Didn't notice that.
Do you know what's hilarious? I've just googled that Billy Savile. And it says, "Watch out, Billy Savile OB has just arrived to tour your hospital." Like, yep, that's definitely.
Watch out.
Mm.
Do you think
Keep
they do
everything
something
running
for us?
smoothly to please him. It didn't look like him that much, though. He had brown hair.
Did you actually complete it? Because I don't know if I ever completed the game.
I didn't know.
I
I
don't think
wasn't
I
good
did,
enough
no.
to complete it.
Because later on, like, it gets to the point where you have to like start training up your staff, don't you?
Yeah. So it goes to the point where like you start unlocking more of the like diagnostic rooms, so stuff for like bloated headedness and the one for was there a specific one for the hairyitis? Like there was a
Yeah, was it like an electrolysis kind of thing?
yeah, something like that. Like you electrocuted them and then like the hair like
the hair just fell
falls
off.
off. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you get to a point where you can start researching as well.
Yeah.
So you start getting to that point as well.
Yeah, you can make your own cures, can't you?
Mm.
At that stage.
You start researching the cures, yeah. I think I got as far as then, but I never completed it.
Never got to the Bahamas.
Yeah.
No. I didn't realize I didn't really like all the training stuff though. So yeah, it seems to take ages to train staff up. I found.
Yeah.
So you have to have like. So obviously you have to have someone skilled in those things. So you get certain people who were skilled in certain aspects, weren't you? So you had like surgeons, psychiatrists. Obviously nurses, there were ones specifying pharmacy.
Wards, yeah. And pharmacy.
And then
there's
specialist researchers, weren't there?
Yeah, I think the doctors they had
What were they
ones
called
that
now?
specialised in the GP office as well, or like they were more efficient with it.
Were the ones that were called consultants? Were they the one that could teach things? Only
I
certain
think so.
people
Yeah,
could
I
teach
think
things,
they were
weren't they?
consultants. Yeah.
But it was annoying because you'd only have like one of them. You'd have like one person who could do surgery,
Mm.
and then you had to train a bunch of other people to do it. But meanwhile, you've got patients coming in who need surgery, and obviously
Well,
he's in
that's
the training room just teaching people. So,
That's where that doctor comes in from the intro cinematic.
yeah,
I can do
bring in
surgery.
the chainsaw guy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you can cover for us until we train one properly.
and you had the emergencies as well, didn't you?
Yeah. There'd be a specific diagnosis of like about 7 or 8 people that you had to do in a certain amount of time. I think.
Yeah,
Cure them.
you did. Yeah. So you get like something like 8 patients coming who have all got the squits or something.
Yeah. And they've all
It's
got
just
the like emergency lights flying over.
yeah,
So you know which
flashing
ones are the
lights.
emergency ones.
It's like because obviously you got to get them in quickly. So it's like you got to slap all the other patients out of the way in the queue for those rooms.
Yeah, you go like right, you
It's like no, you
wait late.
like bye, see you later, send you home. Do away with that. The end of the year awards. They were quite interesting sometimes. So you were given a plaque. One of them was called "You Total Loser."
Oh, perfect.
So that's about how few people came to your hospital. And it says something like, "Your hospital needs paying sufferers."
Pain
All right.
sufferers.
Yeah.
That was definitely my hospital. They were pain sufferers.
Yeah, did you ever use cheats?
I've not used
I
any
didn't
cheats
know. I
now.
never used cheats.
Also, like on the fax machine. So if you want to go back onto it, this is what you do. On the fax machine, you type 24328, press the big green button, and then you should hear the ringing sound of a telephone. And then you can enter cheats. And if you press Shift C, it gives you I think it's like something like 10 grand or something.
Oh, nice.
But when you do it, the hospital tannoy later, the lady on the tannoy, would call you out on it.
Oh
She's
yeah.
like, hospital administrator is cheating. And then every time you did it, she'd just continue. So if you're matching it, She just repeat it constantly.
Don't care what you say. You're getting sacked if you carry on with that talk.
I did quite like those Tannoy announcements.
They were funny, weren't they?
Patients are reminded not to die in the corridors. Patients must have their checkbooks ready. All about the dough. All about the dough. There was epidemics in it as well, weren't there?
I think
Yeah.
so, yeah.
Yeah. Because I remember, I always tend to get to this point where everyone in the hospital was vomiting. And, like, my janitors just
Okay.
couldn't keep up. So it's like just watching all the patients getting very sad and angry as Chunder is surrounding them.
As the chunder rises in the corridor.
It was just an absolute nightmare. It was overwhelming, and all janitors are just like, can't do this, can't do it. And they get your staff can get demoralised, can't they? And just like decide to, I want a
Stop
pay
working.
rise, even though you've not earned it.
Mm.
Like, give me more money.
Like, do you
How
deserve
about you
it?
work harder?
So we'll clean up the sick, and maybe I will. But no, I think there was a bug actually where for some reason the janitors couldn't. There were certain things the janitors wouldn't. When it gets to a certain point, janitors would stop doing what they were supposed to do. But I don't know. I don't know if they ever got fixed. Do you remember the rats?
They were the most annoying part, I found.
Yeah. So
I could never hit them.
Yeah, so you could shoot them, couldn't you?
Yeah.
If you hovered over them, there was like your pointer turned into a crosshair. You could shoot them. And I think when they had like a mini game, like a secret level, bonus level. Like if you shot enough,
Something like that, yeah.
if you shot enough, I think it took you to a bonus level where you would just like to shoot a load of rats.
Yeah, that was it. Like loads of rats started going around the hospital.
I'm just looking for the PlayStation sheets to see if I can get some, so that when I do my next one, I can put these in and make it a bit easy for myself. But all I've found so far is level cheats, so to skip to whichever level you want to go. Yeah, I might just skip straight to like level 12. See how it is.
How many levels? Were there 12 levels? I don't know how many levels there were. Anything like that. I thought there were only like 7 or something like that. I might be wrong.
Sounds about right. Because it was like it's the levels go around on like a
like a board game kind of thing.
Board game sort of thing.
That was the tune on it.
It says 12 on there, but anyway.
12? Oh, okay. Maybe 12 then. Who knows?
Oh, apparently you could unlock the rat shooting level with the cheat as well.
Oh yeah, I think you could. Yeah. I never did that.
7287 apparently.
What? That's what you type on the.
Oh yeah, that was the code. Sorry. Just leave it blank. Well, that's it.
You had natural disasters as well, didn't you? Later on in the game. They annoyed me.
Yeah.
The disasters. Because it wrecked all your machines. That was the thing.
Well, it's stuff like earthquakes, weren't it?
Yeah.
Like tsunamis or something. I don't know about tsunami, but
I think it was just earthquakes, really. I think that was it. But it's just like it just broke all your machines. And it's like, and if you didn't fix it in time, because this is another thing that janitors had to do, then they would explode, killing everyone in the room.
Oh yeah. That was
right.
That's bad PR.
But then that room would become unusable. It's like you couldn't.
So you'd have to just build it all again from scratch.
You couldn't clear it out or anything like that. It would just be a white elephant. It'd just be there. So it's just like taking up space in your hospital. You couldn't do anything, so you have to rebuild it elsewhere. So that was quite infuriating. And you'd always get like aftershocks. So you'd have like the big earthquake, and before you manage to get your janitor to fix it, you'd have these aftershocks, and then that's it, blows up. It's like, oh well, I'm not fixing that machine now, am I?
Yep, that's that.
Yeah.
There were a lot of depth, weren't there? If you think about everything that you had to do, it was quite feature packed for what it was.
Yeah, that was good.
Sorry.
As I say, there was one machine that kind of went through me whenever it was used, and that was the slack tongue machine. Remember that one?
Oh yeah, slack tongue.
It made a weird sound, and just the very thought of sticking your tongue in a machine to have it cut off.
Oh no.
No.
There's so many like different diseases in it. I'm just looking up the amount that was in stuff like chronic nose hair. One called the uncommon cold.
Cause small particles of snot in the air.
One that's got me laughing. One that's called spare ribs.
Oh, that's
Apparently,
great.
apparently the cause was sitting on cold stone floors. Symptoms: unpleasant feeling of chestiness. But I like the cure as well for it. The cure says these must be taken out by 2 surgeons and given to the patient in a doggy bag.
It must have been so much fun coming up with all these ideas.
It's been hilarious, yeah.
Boldness. Cause telling lies and making up stories to be popular. Symptoms: shiny headedness and embarrassment. Cure: hair is seamlessly melded onto the patient's head using a painful machine.
A painful machine.
Well, that sounds nice.
I think that was one that had like diagnostic room, wasn't there? There was a few that had and weren't there? So I would talked about the slack tongue was the slack tongue clinic. Hair restoration was for baldness. Electrolysis. Sorry.
Electrolysis.
Electrolysis. Sorry. For hairitis. Just seen one here. DNA fixer for alien DNA. That must have been one
I
of the
don't remember that machine.
No, I don't remember that machine.
There's bloaty head as well, weren't there?
It was bloated heads as well.
Just
where you
pop their
just
head.
Yeah.
Just stick a pin in them, and then you just reinflate it, don't you? Oh, such good fun. I mean, as you say, they must have had a field day coming up with those diseases, and just
Yeah.
the pun names. I could have a field day with that.
Yeah. It was a shame that it never got a proper sequel from Bullfrog. Like, obviously,
Yeah.
Well, we've
obviously
got
a few
2 Point
years
Hospital,
ago,
haven't we? But
yeah, we've got 2 Point Hospital, and I think it's a really good spiritual successor.
Yeah.
to it.
When I first heard about that, I thought, oh, I'm not sure about this. But then I heard it was like some original developers from
Yeah,
Hospital. I
some
thought,
of the team.
right, this is going to be decent in it. But yeah. Because I do think there's other games that have tried to do hospital simulation and never quite matched it, I don't think.
No, there was. I remember there was one I was following on Kickstarter. I think it was around the same time that like 2 Point Hospital got mentioned or revealed. And it was fairly similar in style. Like it was a kind of isometric.
was it called
3D.
Project Hospital by any chance?
It might have been, yeah. I think it might have been Project Hospital, but it looked as though it took itself a little bit too seriously.
Mm.
Like there was none of that like kind of bullfrog humor that came through.
Yeah, I think originally they were going to have like proper diseases in it, but I think they thought it might end up becoming a bit insensitive if having like original proper diseases in it.
I don't think it would have been sensitive. It might have been educational potentially.
Well, no, but there's a lot of humor in the game.
Well,
so I think.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah. Don't want to
I
shine a
suppose when
light
you
on
put like
people.
that, like.
Well, let's be
people
honest. It's
with
much better
cancer
this
and
way
stuff.
anyway, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can't be too dark, otherwise it just wouldn't have had its charm.
But I have to say, what I love about the game is the fact that it takes a place that is usually like surrounded by abject misery, and just makes it really light-hearted.
Mm.
That's what I really like the game. I find it surprisingly uplifting for a game, which is strange.
think that's the music, though, isn't it? I think a lot of the music's really upbeat and catchy.
Hospital waiting room kind of music.
Yeah. I kept on getting annoyed every time, like, doctors and that had to like take a break and whatnot, and then bloody receptionist comes over. Doctor needed in GP's office. It's like, no, he's in the staff room.
So give him 5 minutes for good.
It's like tannoy after tannoy after tannoy.
Yeah.
Doctor, take the psychiatry, please. Doctor in the inflator room, please. Constantly. It's like, shut up.
Stop it.
But this is why you have too many. This is why you're supposed to have too many doctors there. Because then there's always someone available.
You overload on them.
Yeah.
I think I think for the time it came out it was like important as well, because I think around like between 96 and I'd say 98, like the gaming space was getting a bit more gritty, a bit more grown up, but this kind of came in and it was kind of like a bit of humor and light in effect, in the midst of just all these darker games coming out on the PlayStation, I think.
Yeah.
And the other consoles, obviously.
I don't know if I ever played this on PlayStation. I think I only played PC.
I've played both. It was a bit difficult to get used to it on PlayStation, because I don't think they had DualShock.
Yeah, before the DualShock came out, so you've got to use the directional pad to move the mouse, so it can be quite difficult from that aspect. Yeah,
especially trying to shoot that rat. That was absolutely bad.
But yeah, I just a long line of Bullfrog games that I just absolutely adore. Dungeon Keeper, Populous. Shall I read an excerpt from the quick guide?
Go on.
It's pretty lengthy.
Go on.
This is quite funny. It's called The Man from the Ministry. Sir Reginald Crumbly, MP's horror was quickly turning into nausea. The minister was beginning to regret his request to visit the hospital. It had seemed a good idea a week ago, in the safety of his mahogany office. Tour the facilities, chat up the nurses, and get a few votes in the bag while he was about it. But things hadn't worked out that way. He'd stepped into the reception area, and already things hadn't looked good. There was no reception committee waiting for him. There wasn't even a nurse with a cup of coffee, as he'd hinted for on the telephone. Milk, 2 whiskies, just as he's always asked for. Instead, there was a continuous cacophony, a pervasive smell, and sick people milling chaotically. Ghastly. Oh well, better get on with it. So Reginald strolled to a door nearby. He looked in and saw the view blocked by a bloated head. Without warning, a hand clutching a huge steel needle pierced the side of the cranium and it deflated with an audible pop. So Reginald recoiled and moved to the next window. A doctor was fiddling with an impressive, well-maintained machine. This was more like it. Someone was leaning over the machine, looking into its innards. But what was that? The figure's tongue, grossly enlarged, was lying over a sharp edge. Without warning, a blade swished down, and the tongue, twitching, fell into the depths of the machine. Sir Reginald hurried on, too shocked to speak. Further along the corridor was a room with a row of windows. Looking in, the bureaucrat distinctly saw a disgusting creature, the size of a person, but covered with hair. It was strapped into a machine which glowed with electric currents. A doctor threw a switch, and the figure jolted and jerked as the industrial-strength electrolysis machine did its work. The smell of burning drifted faintly under the door. Sir Reginald, trembling, moved away. The next window was misty with condensation, but Reginald clearly saw molten human flesh being poured onto a living skeleton. Why was he in this chamber of horrors? As Sir Reginald stepped back from the window, he bumped into a bed trolley being pushed by a nurse. The minister almost mumbled an apology, until he noticed the patient on the trolley. Before he could shut his eyes, he clearly saw that the patient's flesh was transparent. That was bone he was looking at. The world went grey as Sir Reginald fought to stop himself fainting. He stumbled towards a drinks machine. His eyes bugged out. $20 for a can of cola. He fumbled the money from his coat and took a can, hoping it would revive him. As he walked unsteadily across the reception area, swigging lukewarm pop, his eyes darting from face to mishappen face, Reginald decided to investigate one more room. Nothing, he assured himself, could be worse than anything he'd already seen. Sure enough, as he peered into a well-appointed office, he saw a calm, clever-looking psychiatrist counselling someone on a couch. The figure looked familiar. Slicked quiff? Spangly white suit? Yes, there were the blue suede shoes. Sir Reginald was about to knock on the door to ask for an autograph when he glanced to his right. From a few feet away, the slimy green alien stared at him impassively with its one saucer eye. Sir Reginald broke and fled, screaming. As he rushed towards the exit, Sir Reginald's foot slid in something partly liquid. He crashed to the floor and lay, sobbing with pain and horror. Among the remains of a meal someone hadn't finished digesting and hadn't been able to contain. Crumbly strength failed him. He felt hands grab his ankles, and, as he wailed and clawed uselessly, he was dragged deeper into the madness of the hospital. Before he passed out, he distinctly heard a voice say, "Nice one, Les. This one looks rich enough to be here for a long time. I mean, it's all about profit at the end of the day, isn't it?" And there endeth the story of Reginald. Poor Reg.
Yep.
So there we go. Theme Hospital.
Reg in peace.
Into the Video Game Hall of Fame. If you enjoyed listening to us, please consider tuning in next time. We release bi-weekly on Tuesdays. You can visit our website at jokingdolphin.com, where we post blogs and the Hall of Fame. Also, feel free to follow us on all social media platforms to continue the conversation. You can find Joking Dolphin on Facebook, as well as on Instagram and Twitter at Joking Dolphin. We're also on YouTube, where we post this podcast. Until next time, thanks for listening. Goodbye.
Take care.
Goodbye.